Well, I should have to start with, I am 62 years old now. When we were young, we all knew about Rastafari and the Emperor Haile Selassie. But then in 1984 and 5, there was a great famine, and at that moment I was general manager of Médecins Sans Frontières, Belgium. So I discovered then a country with people that were starving, in great need, but also we saw behind that a beautiful country, a rich culture, interesting people. At that moment I can say it was a country that was badly governed. But then time went by and I had a busy life, and in 2011 we said we should go back to Ethiopia and see how much it has changed, because of course we knew about the Meles Zenawi and the new government, and all the news we heard at that moment was very positive about Ethiopia. And so we went there with a couple of friends, and it is true that we discovered a completely different country. To be honest, in 2011 in August when we went there were some rumors about a new small famine in the north, and so our friends said you shouldn't go there because it's not appropriate to go there in a country when there is a famine. But we went around the country and we saw all the the harvest was on the fields, a rich harvest, and all the great hangars, they were filled with food. So there was not at all famine. And that's pity for Ethiopia, that still that idea of it's a poor country and people that are starving from hunger, still that image from those famous BBC images of 84, 85 still is in the head of people. When I talk to people, I go there now something like every 6 months, and then you see when you land on Addis, always it's completely changed. There are new buildings, so the country is developing very, very quickly. And what interests me is to see how a country, which we must not forget that finally this is the origin of we, the white people, we come from Ethiopia. We should be more humble in our attitude towards our black friends, because it's true, it's just a biological fact. People also tend to forget this, but it's just a fact. So if I go there and I meet people of Ethiopia, they are so friendly, but also very entrepreneurship. They are very undertaking. And the idea we have is, it is now a time that we have to stop giving aid. We have to work as people on the same level, collaborate and invest in the country. Because the country has skilled people, there is a good medical care, there is a good scholarship, so the schools are okay. So there is a rich base for the country to go much farther than it's even now. And the only thing we can do is just invest like a normal entrepreneur, invest in the country, and the people there are able to do it without aid, but with just normal investment. Great country to visit. It's beautiful nature. It's also on a height, so that's very good for the health. People forget about that, but it's
the
that's what the Semyon Mountains. But always you are at the height of something like 2,000 meters, which is very healthy for our people. So our sportsmen, professional sportsmen, they go on the height stage, as they call. They pay a lot of money only to go on the height. Here you have the height as an extra, and then you have that beautiful country with so much interesting things to visit. And I advise mainly the northern route, because that's the great history, there are beautiful things. The south is less interesting, I think, but that's a personal opinion. I think if you have to go and you have a limited time, go for the north, do Addis and go then on the classical tour north, Gondar, Aksum, Lalibela, Mekele, Tana Lake. So those things are beautiful and very rich. First time when I went there in 2011, the food wasn't fantastic. You didn't have good wine, there was beer, okay, but I've seen the country changing so rapidly on that field as well. Now you can really have very good meals in Ethiopia, very good wine. So that aspect was in the beginning something like tourists said, okay, country is beautiful, but you have to suffer a little bit to visit it. No, you enjoy it. The hotels are improving. They are very good hotels now. So everything a tourist wants is there, with on top that beautiful country, beautiful nature and beautiful cultural things to visit. On a general field, if you look at the growth of the national product, that's amazing, and that says it all. So the country is progressing very quickly, one of the quickest developing economics of the world. So that's a good climate for investing. And I started with the idea of entrepreneurs, we should invest in those countries. So not by giving aid, but by lending money that is to be paid back, or by investing as a co-owner of businesses. And so we met Bogale Abbey, who was a guide in Lalibela, but who had good ideas about starting a business. And I said to him, well, you send me a business plan and we'll go over it like partners, we'll discuss it. As it sometimes goes on a journey, then you talk with them, but you don't hear anything. But he came back with, to me by mail after 2 weeks only with 3 very well developed business plans. And so we studied them together, and we chose one, small one, as a start. So starting for him, a small transportation company. Because his idea was, the transport for the tourists is bad. Those Toyota buses, they are old. There is no airco in it. The seats aren't clean. The tires aren't very good. I want to give quality. And that's what he did, and it worked out very well. And then we said, okay, next step, because his dream was to start a tourist agency. And then we started with Dynasty Ethiopia Tours, in which we invested together. So he has 50% of the shares, and I have 50% of the shares. And that's going quite well now. So it's started, I think, 5 years ago now, or 4 or 5 years. And it's growing every year. And then there's a third project. We were also talking with, there is a Belgian, quite a big group that is investing all over the world in the via hotels and restaurants. And so we started also, I invested in the via hotel restaurant in Addis Ababa. And it turns out that all, I have to go there because I haven't been there since the start. I have to go there because it seems that it's going quite well. A lot of people are going there, and all the reactions I hear is that it's very, very good. Well, those 3 businesses are doing quite well. So I am looking now for what could be a next step. So there's no concrete idea. Dynasty Ethiopia Tours has to develop further, and that's what Bigale and I are working on. The hotel is going well, they don't need me, so I am quite just now ready to go maybe on a new investment, and then I'll look out for what turns up. Well, the idea was, since I told you, there is still that image about Ethiopia is a poor country, is suffering, and the truth of everyone who has been there, because I have been touring around in Ethiopia with groups as well as a guide, and everybody is very amazed. If we land, for instance, in the north, then you see there the bikes, the Ethiopian people on modern bikes, on all kinds of, on a smooth asphalt route. Then you see the wind energy park, and not to speak about the Renaissance done. So there are really high-tech things in Ethiopia. And that's not the image that people have. So we said with this book, we want to show the image of Ethiopia today. The country has a rich history, a very interesting history, with some dips like every country has, with some negative elements like every country has. But on the whole, it's a very rich and old history. People are also amazed to see their castles, beautiful churches. That's what we don't associate with Africa. We associate that with Europe, but that's Africa, Ethiopia. So Ethiopia is somewhat like a half Mediterranean country. It's it's a rich country by its basis. And that's what we wanted to show in this book. It's not the Sahara, dark, lethargious country. No, it's a country that has that spirit of the Mediterranean, of people that can combine and easygoing, easy living, enjoying life, and work hard and develop things. And that combination is a very good combination, and that's what we wanted to show in that book. First print is almost sold out. I think there are just like 20 copies left. And then we're thinking now about a reprint, and people are really very happy with the book. A lot of people bought it that have been there and that said, well, we want that book as some kind of memory for what is a country. And then also the elements where we talk about, we give examples of projects in Ethiopia, industrial projects that work fine, and that's also something that people say, well, we have seen that on the field, but you don't read that anywhere, and so they like to read that, yes. Well, people must know that everything in Ethiopia is well organized. So you have to do it the proper way. It's not a thing of money under the table, of doing on a strange way business. It's just clear. There are laws. Everything is written out. And so you have to follow the scheme that is there. And so you have to look for a local partner that can help you throughout the administration, because administration is, like it is in European countries as well, it's quite heavy. It's quite a way you have to go, because there's a lot of rules and regulations. But that's good. I prefer a country with good regulations to a country that has no regulations. So you can do a very well business, and I think in every field, because the country is developing in every field. So for an investor, he should see what is his core business, what does he know, what is he good at, and then invest in that field. Contact the embassy, for instance, contact the people in Ethiopia, and look for the opportunity in a field that you know well. I think they have to first go and see the country, visit the country, because they are still anxious about Ethiopia. That old image is still there. So the first thing they have to do is take a journey to Ethiopia, and then you will come back and you will, like I was also, you will become very impressed by the country and by the dynamics that are over there, and by that rich culture. So if you have to invest in one of those developing countries, I think Ethiopia is by far in Africa the best opportunity. The stable government,
Thank you.
Don't forget about that. And like Kenya was also a good opportunity, but the government now is failing somewhat. So you have a very stable and good government that really cares about its people. One challenge in business is if you invest money, if you give a loan, it's hard to get paid back. Because the law doesn't allow hard currency to go out of the country. So if I give a loan of 60,000 euro, for instance, how can I get paid back? That is something that is not very well organized in the country. And which is, of course, if you just give a loan, which is nice and easy way of helping somebody over there, you can give a loan at 2 or 4%, which is a very interesting rate for us here in the country. But which is also a very interesting rate for the local entrepreneur. But he has difficulties to pay you back because of the law in Ethiopia. So that's certainly a challenge, because it withholds people to give a loan.